Hey you guys, this is Josh
And Carolyn.
with Homesteading Family, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pantry Chat, Food for Thought.
This week we are talking about what is going on around here and
Freeform. We're doing more of these.
Yeah. You guys have been saying you really like them
Cool.
and that you're really enjoying this, so we're going to keep doing them.
So we got to come up with a title.
We got to come up with
You're
a
right.
title, right?
Gotta formalize
Exactly.
it, right?
Make it. We're kind of internally calling it the state of the homestead, but that feels a little political.
Feels a little political, feels a little long.
A little long, yeah. So anyways.
I don't know, put in your suggestions. What should we call it?
What should we call it? It's a what's going on the homestead and what we're thinking about. So anyways, we're going to be digging into that. So because of that, we're going to kind of flip-flop the format a little bit here. We usually kind of get into what's going on around here. That's what we're really going to be talking about in the heart of the podcast. So let's start with a question. And then we'll get to that.
Sounds good.
Sound good? This one's for you. This is from Vessel Fit to Use. Is there a major tick problem in Idaho? Do you have to deal with ticks often on your family and your animals?
Good question. We live in a small part of Idaho, North Idaho, so I can't speak to all of Idaho, though there are probably ticks in all of Idaho. There are ticks here. I would not call them a major problem. Actually, I would say where we lived in the mountains of Southern California years and years ago, the ticks were a lot worse than they are here as far as volume.
Right.
So not a major problem, but they're here. We got to deal with them. And we get them on ourselves sometimes. The animals get them. And so, yeah, we do have to deal with them. When we find them on ourselves, we remove them as quick as we can. And if we know we're in season and they're there, then we try to be a little more proactive in checking ourselves. I believe we do not have Lyme's disease that we know of here, so definitely less of a risk for us, more of an inconvenience, but they are inconvenient when they get latched onto you. And so, we generally remove them. Having a lot of birds, turkeys particularly, we don't have guineas right now, but we have and probably will again. Having a lot of those types of birds around on your property are very, very helpful for the ticks in minimizing the tick population. Though I gotta say, so ticks generally are crawling up on higher, so they're not often low in the ground. They're often a little higher in the ground. They crawl up onto bushes and they wait for an animal like a deer to come by. And so we're going to have less problems around the house and a little bit more as we get out into the edges of the house and into the forest. Where that becomes a little bit more of a problem. They get on to us, the kids, out hiking, whatever, working, out in the brush. And so we just, we try to be cognizant that time of the year and check ourselves and remove them.
Yeah.
And that's been the extent really of what we've had to deal with.
When we moved onto the property, we actually had a lot worse tick problem.
First couple of years.
The first couple of years, but I think like you're saying, the poultry has really made a major change. Yeah. We're running poultry in the pasture. Yeah. And so that has just really taken down the tick population here. Yep. So that helps.
There you go. I feel for you if you're in a bad tick area or if you've got ticks and limes. That's definitely a lot more concerning. We just haven't had to worry about it that much.
Yeah. Get some guineas. They do
guineas,
a lot.
Guineas, turkeys too. Yep.
They might give you a headache, but they do eat
They're
the
noisy.
ticks. They're very noisy.
Now, though, I have found when we've kept them around long enough and haven't decided to eat them because they were so noisy and they do taste good, they do seem to mellow out. The ones where we've kept them 3-4 years, and I feel like they eventually get settled and they're not as rackety. I don't know how to describe their noise. Rackety, loud and rackety.
Definitely, if you raise guineas with chickens that are going to be around for not egg or not meat chickens, because obviously those are going to be around for too short of a time. But like egg-laying chickens, and kind of keep them buddied up with the chickens, they seem to do a lot better. They seem to follow the program a little bit more instead of acting like North Idaho libertarians. That nobody's going to tell them what to do.
Just don't raise them with the ducks, because then they think they're a duck.
And it doesn't go
we
well
raised
when the
guineas
duck goes
with
swimming.
ducklings one time, and from babies both, and the ducks got big enough to go swim, and it perplexed the guineas because they thought they were ducks, but they would try getting in the water, but realized they weren't ducks and they didn't know what to do, and they'd run around the pond in circles, and
Scream.
it was a mental health problem for sure for the guineas.
Keep them with the chickens. Okay. All right, moving on. So today's sponsor of the Pantry Chat is American Blossom Linens. American Blossom Linens is a company that we really love. We use their sheets and their towels now, and I love it that they are chemical free. Yay.
Yay.
Really good. You guys know we've been on a bit of a detox journey ourselves from some different chemicals, so getting the chemical free version of everything we can has been really good for us, and so we love getting to know that what we're sleeping on is not loaded with a lot of chemicals. Obviously, you have to then wash that in non-chemicalized laundry detergent.
Which you kind of want to use non-chemicalized laundry detergent too.
Right, definitely. But the sheets and the towels are all made in the United States. They are a great company, and we absolutely love them. They're sheets and towels that are going to last for generations, I think. They are the best made of anything that I have seen in probably my life. Like, they are just good quality.
Well, and best made comes with a price. And so sometimes that's people's chief concern is the price. But if we want things to last, we've got to pay the quality for that. And if we want American made, we've got to support that. And so it's an opportunity to support something that's very good quality. It's made in the USA, family business, and is a product that is going to last. So highly recommend that you check them out. And
they actually stand by the quality of their products so much that they have a 2-year risk-free trial. Like, if you don't like it after 2 years, you can send it back.
Wow.
You guys,
use that towel up and see what happens.
Your Walmart sheets and towels have fallen apart, and you've gotten replacements by then.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good guarantee right there.
USA all the way. We got to do what we can. And though they have given Homesteading family listeners, subscribers, you guys, 20% off for using the coupon code Homesteading Family. It's all upper caps here. I don't know if it needs to be all upper caps when you enter it, but here in our notes, it's all upper caps. Homesteading Family, 20% off. Check that out.
Okay, sounds good. We'll have that for you in the show notes or the description.
Yep.
So you can get a clickable link if you want it.
And thank you, American Blossom Linens, for helping to make this Pantry Chat free and available to everybody.
Yeah, cool.
Yep. All right, so
Moving
Homestead,
on.
State of the Homestead.
State of the Homestead.
Wow, yeah, that does feel political, especially right now in this season.
It feels like we're making a really big statement.
We are not trying to be our own state, but, you know, here in North Idaho, North with a capital N, we do like our autonomy.
Right.
And our independence, so maybe
it
is a statement.
I don't know. Maybe we should call it Musings from the Homestead.
Musings from the Homestead.
Josh and Carolyn drink coffee and think about homesteading.
Yeah, musings from the Homestead is interesting.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, anyways, let's get into it. What? I was going to say, what in the world? What in the Homestead are you up to?
What in the Homestead are you up to? Ooh, well, we are like really wrapping up harvest season right now. We have been in the thick of it and been harvesting everything.
Garden particularly
Particularly at this point. Harvesting everything from the last of the culinary herbs to some medicinal herbs to seeds for next year's growing to lots of winter squash and pumpkins, bringing in lots of greens. We did a lot of greens with the beet greens. We did reds with the beet greens. We had some beautiful red beets with red leaves on them this year. And they're going to make a really, really great, green or red. We keep laughing. What do we call these things? Because they're not really greens.
They're part of the greens
red.
family.
But they're going to be really good when they show up on the dinner table this winter. Lots of good red vitamins in them, which can be hard to get, so that's going to be good.
What are red vitamins?
Anthocyanins? Cyanins.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm saying
so there is something to red.
Oh, Eat the Rainbow
leafed.
is a real thing.
Right.
That's not a Skittles commercial, right? It's for real.
It's not what they mean when they say eat the rainbow. Don't go buy a bag of Skittles.
The different colors are associated with different types of vitamins in there and different phytonutrients. So anyways, getting those reds in there are great. along with other colors. So anyways, we've just got a lot of different things coming in right now. We just did all of the root vegetables. Those are now in and safely tucked away in their shavings.
We have been enjoying, I love the carrot and parsnip.
Yes.
I love that on the table this time of year. So good.
We just oven roast those carrots and parsnips. Sometimes we throw in potatoes, sometimes beets. It's all good. Sometimes we'll throw in some really crisp apples right at the last couple minutes of cooking, and some onions.
I was gonna say, I feel like you throw in onions once in a while, and that's really good
too. Onions are really
too.
good. Just whatever we kind of have
Simple,
to use up.
easy going, but very, very good.
Really good to go. So anyways, we've been really working on just bringing in the harvest and then getting everything ready for winter, which we're kind of pretty much there.
Garden-wise,
we're pretty much there.
we'll be throwing a lot more at you in a couple of weeks here.
Yeah. Next is butchering.
Next is butchering. Sheep, we've got 3 sheep to bring in, and 5 pigs.
5 pigs.
5 pigs.
Okay, and we're doing it all ourselves this year,
We
right?
are, yep.
Good. Some years we do it ourselves. Some years we send it out to the butcher.
We always regret it when we send it out to the butcher. It costs more for
Especially the
one, and
pigs.
we've got a good butcher. He does a great job.
Right.
Love him. But you just don't get the same thing compared to when you do it yourself. The same usage, just the way you like it. And so we can handle those animals well. It's just a matter of time, and we're going to make the time this year.
We're going to make it happen.
And get it done. Yeah.
And we're really dialing in this year, and we're really going to do our own sausage, because that's one thing that we like. We'll get through butchering the pigs, but sometimes we don't take the next step and do all the sausage.
And that's one of the reasons we've gone and hired it out, because then we'll get the sausage done, and they do a good job. But Carolyn and I put together our own recipes for some Italian and breakfast several years ago.
You're making work for me right now, because you know what everybody's going to say? We want the recipes.
I don't know.
So, okay,
that might...
We'll have to type up the recipes for you guys.
It is good. We've yet to find it matched yet.
We have.
But it's suited to our taste buds, so I don't know. You may not
mild
feel the same.
Italian, hot Italian, and a breakfast sausage mixes that we like took all day and kept testing mixes,
Make a little patty,
make a little bit,
try it out, do this, make another one.
All the kids were in on the testing. We kind of decided, too much of this, too little of that, and we just dialed in our spice mix, and we really like our own sausage.
That was a fun process. That's kind of like, I could equate that to the kids that are always building little forts in the trees, and they don't use them. They just go build another one. Can we just always test?
Just keep testing.
Yeah.
You just like getting a day of eating sausage.
That's my point. That's my point.
Like, my job today is to eat sausage. It's kind of fun. Well, we do have a new thing coming up with this, because we are expanding into bratwursts this year.
We've decided we love, I've known for a long time I love bratwurst, but we've been having them more. And we had, tip for you, want to know what to do with that old ram. So we had an old ram, couldn't sell him to make money back on him. And so we made bratwurst out of him, or the butcher did. Just use his recipe with a little bit of pepper flakes in it, a little bit of spice, so a spicy bratwurst. Oh my goodness. Everybody
really good.
Loved it. It was so good. You think like, ooh, old 8-year-old ram, kind of stinky and tough. It was a little drier than a normal bratwurst, but very, very good.
It was very good, I gotta say.
I
have been doing some research and finding you can put all sorts of things into the term bratwurst.
Right.
From doing a chicken variety. I saw some that were a combination of pork and fish. And apparently, they can be really good. You just have to. We're going to try I know you're not excited about this.
Yeah, what is the one you're doing?
Where I'm going to try the one that tastes like a Chinese dumpling. I'm very excited about this. I really like dumplings.
What do you guys think? I'm trying to get my head around it.
You just can't
Chinese
think
dumpling.
like German flavored sausage, right? You have to think more like
Chinese flavored sausage.
Anyways, I'm very excited about it. So we're going to do a little bit. I won't use all of the pork, don't worry. But we are going to test a little bit. I've got locating good quality oyster sauce right now to put in our Chinese sausages. So it's going to be good.
She's brilliant. She comes up with some good stuff, so it might be great.
You might even like it.
But it might not. So
it might not. So we're going to test it, right? We'll do our little test
Absolutely.
amount and try.
Yeah. Hey, another part of that I'm excited about, and this is actually coming from Connor, our oldest son in the house, pushing for this. He wants to actually use the intestines. So that's the old school way. Use the pig intestines, right? And you can buy them. And we're going to buy some backups, but we're actually going to go through the process and work on using our own. And so I'm excited for that.
You are not using my intestines.
I wasn't planning
you can
on
use your own.
I wasn't planning on using yours. We'll use the pigs. How's that?
Okay, that sounds good. But that's going to require quite a cleaning process, so we're learning how to do
some
that
work.
the right
yeah,
way.
it's some work, but that just will be cool if we can turn that out.
It'd be really neat to know
Yeah.
how to do that ourselves. Whether we decide to continue doing it like year after year, we'll see. But it's good to have the skill of doing it if we were ever not able to get casings.
Absolutely.
Pre-done casings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
So that's fun. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to the bratwurst.
Yeah. What about you? What have you been up to?
We are just winter prep. We're slowly winding down outside. The animals are making their last pass on the pasture, the cows and sheep, and right now it's just the one boar out there on his own. Turkeys are in, meat chickens are in, and put up. And so they're making their last pass. 4 passes on the pasture this year. I'm very pleased with our rotation program, watching the pasture improve over the last several years. And so they're making their way back, and we're getting the barn ready. Still cleaning out the barn from last winter's litter. It's just been something we've had to work at little bits at a time here. So finishing that up, getting ready to add the shavings and kind of complete the cycle. I've done a few videos this year on kind of the cycle from coming out of the barn in the spring, out into pasture, and we will try to wrap it up with returning to the barn after everybody's been out and doing the rotation and getting back into the winter mode. So getting that done, we've been doing upgrades on the barn.
Yes.
We'll try to highlight that somewhere where we've upgraded our electrical, which was badly needed. It gets cold. We have a lot of water troughs, and we're always tripping breakers and getting the ice frozen. So we've had to upgrade electrical and upgrade our water system to make watering a little easier. Yeah, and less prone to failure. I mean, the work's not that hard, but failure is easy. And boy, when it's -30 and everything's frozen and your water hoses are frozen because they didn't drain and the water heaters aren't, it gets difficult. So yeah. So gosh, that's a lot of it right there. Just getting fence. There's a lot to do, to get wrapped up before the snow comes. Make sure that things are put away, the fencing's put away. Slowly just winding up the fencing, Connor is, and laying before, as the animals move through. Just trying to get these projects done. It's kind of onto that race now of getting everything done before the snow sets in.
Now, you've also been working up in the new pasture area that we just cleared this last year and doing some chipping. Is that where you're doing
So
chipping?
we're doing that right now, right. So yeah, we cleared 8 to 10 acres this spring. Connor did, and another young guy that came and helped, and they laid down the trees and stacked a bunch of them up. Some of them we're going to need to burn this fall, but we're chipping what we can. So yeah, we've got a chipper rented for the week, and the guys are up there just chipping. That goes into our chip pile, which then we use for the deep bedding in the barn. So exciting to have that material, and they're clearing it out. We've got a lot of firewood logs we've got to try to clear out before the snow falls. And hopefully get some machinery in here to clean that ground up, de-stump it, and get it ready for pasture in the spring. We'll see. He doesn't know if he can make it now or the spring, but it's getting there. So that's going to be huge for us.
Yeah. I'm excited about these chips because they're a little bit bigger than
they're bigger than the wood shavings that we usually use, right?
So I, this last year, made some changes out in the cottage garden because it has been a challenge to keep the grass out of the beds. And so we actually put edging all the way around the cottage garden, which is going to allow me to put in some deep mulching of these larger chips to help suppress the weeds and the plants that I don't want growing. Just to try to take the work down. Like we're always trying to do, we're trying to reduce our own work in different areas, see how we can upgrade our systems to make our work less.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's the water system in the barn to make the work less difficult in the winter, or it's something like this to make the weeding less difficult in the spring, really, for me.
Well, and all around, that should, with the dividers, and the edging goes down into the ground, so
Yes.
it cuts off the root base of the grass, so the grass can't come through. And then a good 6-8 inches of mulch, where those perennials can handle it just fine.
They'll pop right up through it.
But it will make it hard for any grass and weeds on the top to germinate. You know,
Yeah.
and just lower the maintenance in the garden and improve the health of the garden and
Yeah.
water retention as well.
Which is great.
In there, yeah.
That'll be really good. So I'm excited about that because that'll be a big step forward.
Yeah.
So we've been needing these chips, so that's great that we're getting them coming in here.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Hey, another thing I've been thinking about a lot, and this year, we're always looking at how we can reduce our feed costs and how we can get more resilient on the homestead. And I've had a lot of conversations with my friends Sean and Beth Doherty, who are experts at like, they kind of focus on the cow, pig, chicken idea on the farm and how you can recycle everything. And they're very, very big on low inputs. And that's been a struggle for me to think about getting down some of the inputs, and especially like the dairy cows, because we ask a lot of our dairy cows. So we don't do grain. We don't grain the dairy cows, but we do feed them alfalfa pellets to kind of help keep that protein up, give them a little bit of extra besides pasture and a little bit of hay when they come in to get milked. But we've done the alfalfa pellets, but it is an expense. And I know, like Sean and Beth talk about, you just give them grass, you get a little less. You're going to get a little less milk, but you just give them grass and hay when you need to. No inputs, you're not buying the inputs. And I had a hard time getting to that and doing that. Just feel like I need to take care of it.
Just like not believing that the animal
No, I know
will
it's-
stay in good condition.
I know it's partly condition, partly just, especially on the dairy cow, we're asking a lot of them, and we also want that milk. And so I've had a hard time taking that step and letting go of that. Well, I got forced to. So I ordered this year, we order bulk in our what grains we do need and things like alfalfa pellets, and I thought I bought enough for the winter. Well, we're milking 2 dairy cows, we've got some goats. I lost track of things, and I don't know, a week ago or so, maybe a little more now, the kids said, hey, we're out of alfalfa pellets, which they're supposed to let me know when it gets low, but we get busy. And I'm like, well, okay, well, we're out.
Well, I guess we're not feeding them alfalfa pellets
to get
today.
some. So got pushed into the position of just not having them and just going with, they're in pasture and then they come in and get fed, and so a little bit of hay to keep them happy in there. And it's been going great. Cows are looking good. And I think we've got, I don't know, between 10 and 15% less milk. So it has created a reduction, but I think the cost savings is probably well worth it.
So when did this happen? Because I actually was totally unaware of this.
I don't know, a week and a half ago. Yeah, Brianna's sitting right here. She's one of our main milkers. So a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, somewhere right in there it hit. And so I've been asking Brianna to check, and she kind of showed me on the bucket. And
What's interesting is somewhere in here I've started going, all of a sudden our cream level has totally increased.
It's increased.
It's increased, which doesn't
Interesting.
doesn't feel intuitive.
It doesn't feel intuitive because we're taking out high protein, alfalfa pellets.
I just figured it was because the feed's changing and all. I don't know. I didn't think very hard about it at all, actually. I was just like, there is
an argument for late season forage. There is an argument for late season and even dormant forages.
Well,
being good
it's
for the
kind of
milk,
surprising to me. So I don't know if there's a correlation there, or if it's just that the overall quantity has dropped, so the percentage of cream has gone up.
How long has that been?
Yeah, I really couldn't say. It's just, when we go through our milk pretty quickly. So we try to keep it out of the fridge within 2 or 3 days because we are milking 2 cows. So we get a lot of milk in all the time. So we're trying to use it up. So right now we're separating off anything we want to actually pull the cream from. But because the quantity has gone down, I haven't noticed some big spike in the overall amount of cream. I've just noticed percentage-wise in the jar that it's gone up.
Interesting. Now, is this going on a little bit longer? Because there was a point when we went, not that long ago, we went to once a day milking. So we switched over.
What was after that?
And when that happened, what we did, so we were doing twice a day. The cows came in the morning out of pasture, they got milked, and then they just went ahead and stayed in the barn for the day, got some hay, got milked in the afternoon, and then went back out. So still the majority of the time was on pasture, but it was just more efficient for us. Right. But when we went to once a day, we just bring the cows in, milk them, put them right back out in a pasture. So they do have, when that change happened, they got an extra 8 to 10 hours on pasture.
I don't know. I'm not real sure. I just wasn't watching that closely on it, but it all is much creamier. I know that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I am convinced that we can do this without the extra inputs for the cow, and that is a major savings for us.
That is great.
That is one to kind of tick off the box and go, yep, we can cut that input out or greatly minimize it. Probably get a little bit for the spring when you get the cows going again and keep them happy in the
you gotta get them to come in.
But that right there is I think a huge cost savings.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's always good. Trying to reduce those inputs and trying to reduce the cost for all.
Well, it is, and we're going to be continuing to look at that a lot more in the next year. Yep, and how to continue to be more resilient. We're talking about growing way more pumpkins right next year on the terraces.
Way more winter squash.
In order to feed the pigs. We don't need them.
Yeah, no, we don't need any more winter squash.
But that's the next thing is reduce.
We're going to open our own pumpkin patch if we grow any
Absolutely.
more.
Reduce the grain usage. So the pigs have been getting they get all the household scraps, they get all the milk waste. Sometimes with 2 cows we just have extra milk. So the pigs get all that. They love the milk more than the soaked grain.
Oh, interesting.
They go to that first. Oh, yeah.
They like the milk first.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then start working on growing more of those pumpkins and other things to feed the pigs.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yep.
Well, something else that I have been thinking about here in the last couple weeks is I think over the last 3 weeks, we've now had 2 power outages. Mm-hmm. Would you say 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, last few weeks, yeah. 3 is probably reasonable.
And one of them lasted several days. We had a 2 or 3 day power outage there from a windstorm that came through. And it's always good to see that because it gives you a chance to test your systems, right? To see it's one thing to be able to survive. And okay, we're surviving just fine here. We're able to survive. We're able to meet our minimums. We've got basic hygiene, water for different things we need, all the basics. We're able to cook. It's another to live with it and see how it affects your working systems, which is kind of a whole nother level. Because, if you're at a place where you're we need to chase generators around just so we can do laundry or just so we can do this or just so we can do that in an extended power outage, or maybe you're swapping generators from one freezer to the next,
which works and we've done plenty of.
That's kind of survival level, just keeping everything from getting destroyed during a power outage, or just keep some basic semblance of healthy living. But then getting to, okay, what if we had to just kind of live this way for an extended period of time? It becomes a whole different thing. And you start seeing okay, where are our glitches? Where do we have a problem? We realized hot water is a major efficiency killer for us. We can definitely heat hot water on the stove and use it for washing dishes and use it for other things. But it slows everything down in the house significantly.
Well, in context, because right now, this won't be long term because it's not a good idea, but the house came with electric hot water heaters that are not on.
Yes.
We have a panel where certain things are charged up when you connect the generator to it, but not the whole house. So those water heaters are not, because they're such high consumption.
Right.
And so then we have to deal. It's handleable.
It's handleable.
It's not efficient for any amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we had to just keep the house humming along during harvest season because, hey, this power outage is going to go on for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or who knows how long or whatever it is, that's really slowing things down significantly. So it's just kind of interesting to think about the difference between surviving a power outage versus being able to just work kind of as normal through it. And that's kind of the next stage of actually functioning off-grid.
Quick solution I just thought of.
Okay.
We've done this for chicken butchering.
Yeah.
And they now have portable water heaters that run off of a 5-gallon propane tank.
Ooh.
So, and you can mount it to a dolly.
Okay.
So that you have it all right there.
Okay.
And so interim, eventually, we're going to get our water heaters over to propane generator inline backup, so more developed systems eventually, but that's several years out for us.
So you don't want to use a propane tank inside, so you could just pipe the hot water.
Oh yeah,
coming
you'd
into the
want to do it
house or
outside, but
something?
you could have it outside the door,
and
and still have hot water on demand
see?
through a system like that. And so that it's funny because I just saw that old tank, so that's what made me think of it. Like that could be a good interim and a good situation for a lot of you that like thinking about backups, not super expensive, not redoing the whole house and the whole house system, which we'd all love to do. We plan to do eventually, but we haven't invested in that yet. So that could be a good way to have some hot water, a little easier than just working off of the stove, which is propane or the wood burner. So there you go. Anyways.
There you go.
Solution while we're talking.
I like it. Well, and that is another option there that we've talked about is getting a new wood burning stove with water heating capability.
And that would eventually be something we would do.
Because then you just have hot water on demand. And
right.
that's a lot.
Yeah, you have a hot water tank built into the wood burning stove. That would be the ultimate backup behind propane water heaters that work without electricity.
Yeah.
Then you start to get some redundancy, even if you have full power backup, which will be our goal eventually. Is a generator that covers the whole house, not just pieces of the house. But we got to build our way there.
Yeah, it's kind of one thing at a time. We were visiting with some people the other day who got a new homestead, and they worked and worked and worked for about 3 years. They were working themselves into the ground, and then they went and they visited another homestead of somebody who'd been doing it for a while, and they asked them, how long did this take you? And the guy said, 15, 17 years. And they had this aha moment of, we can't work like this for 15 to 17 years. So they decided to slow down a little and just, one piece at a time. Their goal had been 5 years to get it all done and up and running and dialed in the way they wanted it. And they realized, no, this is more like a 15-year journey to get, I don't know that you ever arrive, because the more you learn, the more you're like, oh, well, we could do it even better if we did it this way,
Yeah.
And so it's always kind of a learning journey. But slow and steady.
Yep.
Don't burn yourself out. You'll get there
and
eventually.
you just prioritize, right? You come up with systems, you prioritize. So don't let that be a discouragement to you. It takes time, and we all have different resources. We all have different, things that are available to us with our time, our resources, our land. And so there's a lot you can do quickly to get the basics covered and get yourself in a secure position. But when it comes to building long-term resiliency in systems, it takes time. And we just work through it and prioritize. And we're here to help, hopefully shorten that journey. I think that's the cool thing we get to do is you and I have been at it for, 20 years. We still got a lot we want to do, but we didn't have these kind of resources. We didn't have this kind of communication widely known. And so I'm thankful to be able to just sit here and talk and share ideas even in this format, where we're just kind of talking, but little ideas are coming up, and hopefully that's helpful to people.
Well, we're solving our own problems too while we're doing it.
It's definitely helpful to us, so thanks for being a part of that.
Thanks for listening.
Yep. All right. I think we're probably about at time,
Yeah.
and hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please let us know if this is, we need that affirmation, if this is a good track to be on.
Yep.
And hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.